This is Jordan Poyer, safety for the Buffalo Bills, and you are now listening to Cover One Buffalo Podcast. Let's go.
Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo Podcast. You are joining your host, Greg Tompsett, and my partner in crime, the AFC East champion, Aaron Quinn. How does that sound?
I've waited my whole life for this moment, man. My wife actually looked at me at the end of that game and she's like, "Are you going to cry again?" And I was like, "No, but when we win the AFC championship, I'm going to be crying."
Well, there could be tears at some point. And, tonight's show brought to you by Uncle Jumbo's and our friends at West Her. Hopefully the audio is good for everyone. We're making do on the road here. Aaron enjoying some Uncle Jumbo's root beer float. The reason that I'm on the road is I'm back in Western New York. I am amongst Bills Mafia, and it was so perfect to enjoy the game today with my parents and my children and my grandmother and my sister and my nephews, and to have 25 years of waiting to come full circle and to watch it with my family and to enjoy that together was just amazing. And to be able to say that my team, that Buffalo Bills, are AFC East division champions for the first time in 25 years is amazing.
Super amazing. I don't have that kind of experience. I mean, I've been a fan my whole life, and people texted me all day like, "Dude, you have earned this. Like, this is awesome for you. I'm so happy for you." And again, even my wife, we've been dating and together now for about 10 years. And she's come along to liking the Bills. She liked Trent Edwards a lot, but so she suffered with me, and she's like, "God, I can't believe it's been 10 years and this is the first time this has happened for you." I was like, "Well, add another 15 on top of that before I met you and tell me how that feels." So totally awesome. Still a lot of work to do, but what a fun way to do it too, man. Like, just a huge blowout, just stuck it to them. Like, this is the best pre-Christmas. You know me. I love Christmas. This is the best pre-Christmas I could ever have. I'm just on cloud nine right now, buddy.
Yeah. And even, at the end, I love it that even in a game like this where somebody would have found a way to complain about that Melvin Gordon touchdown later on, and then Devin Singletary rips off the 50-yarder to make it just an absolutely ridiculous 48-19. The Buffalo Bills scored 48 points. 48. That's unbelievable.
I don't care who it's against. Like, this is the NFL. We look at the scores every week of, even the guys on WGR this morning were talking about, hey, the Bills have been beating teams by double digits. Like, even that in itself in this league seems to be rare nowadays with the parity. And then you go on this type of game, like, it's a huge blow. And the thing that everybody was saying about them, 3-4 weeks ago, they can't pull away from a team. They can't really put it to a team and put them away. So many narratives have been killed over the last month of this football team. The worries about the defense, the worries about a guy like Taron Johnson, AJ Klein, the third quarter woes totally put to bed here. And then you tweeted it out here early in that third quarter of the aggressiveness that Sean McDermott's not aggressive and he is going to run the ball, with any bit of a lead. They were throwing up 35-19 or so.
When I wrote that, it was 35-14, up 21 with a 14-0 third quarter, and they threw 6 straight plays. Anybody who wants to try to say that, I wish they would step on people's throats, or I wish they would keep their foot on the pedal, that's ridiculous. They are one of the most aggressive teams in the league. The crazy part is we watched 48 points. There were 21 more points that didn't count. We watched a awesome Statue of Liberty behind the back touchdown to Devin Singletary. We watched a Lee Smith touchdown get called back by penalty. We watched an Isaiah McKenzie touchdown get called back by penalty. So for all intents and purposes, we watched 69 points get scored today, and 48 of them counted, and that's just amazing.
Yeah. Granted, only one of those could have counted because they all were back to back.
The one got called back on the drive where we didn't score, where we went 4-4.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so 14 of them could have counted.
Sure. And this was just, they came out with a mission and they accomplished the mission. And this just puts also to bed that narrative of I fall into the trap. I think a lot of fans fall into the trap of the last 25 years of your team just constantly, anytime there's a big moment, anytime there's hype in the national media, and your team comes out and just drops the ball. We've seen now the two national games, primetime games came out. The national media was against them all week in those games, and it gets to us fans, and we start to question ourselves and say, hey, can we compete in a game like this? The team comes out, puts those teams away by 2 scores. And then you see this one, a game to, you have control of your destiny. You can take this championship that you haven't had in 25 years. And not only do they take it, they just stomp on their throat. And it was a total murder on a football field today. And they were a team with a mission. And Eric in the private chat during the game mentioned it. I think he hit the nail on the head. This week and even here this last month of football has been a real pivotal turning point for Sean McDermott and how aggressive of a nature he is. And he's ramping this team up for the playoffs. This was a statement to the league that we are a force to be reckoned with into the playoffs. Nobody wants to play this team right now. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. That's a perfect way to put it. No one wants to play the Buffalo Bills right now. No one wants anything to do that. You want to know why? The Bills are, one, a ridiculous Hail Mary away from 8 straight victories. The 4 straight victories are by 10, 11, and 29 points. 4 straight double-digit victories, 3 of them on primetime national window games that everyone watched them beat the 49ers by 10, beat the Steelers by 11, stomp the Broncos by 29 points. No one wants to play that team, and it's my team. It's incredible. I've never experienced this. We are the team that people are afraid of, and I don't even know how to act.
Yeah, and dude, all that rough patch in October when the defense was playing poorly and the offense was starting to stall out, and we were kind of mimicking the words of Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, if you want to be playing your best football in December. Even though I'm mimicking those words, and I believe it wholeheartedly, like this is the time where you want to be hitting your stride. And I've talked a lot about, hey, we got to hit on a winning streak here heading into the playoffs. All those things are super important to me, and I believe them. This team has overshot that, how well they are playing together and playing their best football right now. And I see potential for it to get better. I look at this game, like you said, the penalties calling back more points, 14 more points. I see penalties out there. I see still a couple plays that they probably wanted back, both sides of the ball. Like there was still meat on the bone in a huge, beautiful victory like this. And there has been this whole month. There's still meat on the bone. So this team still has some room to get better. And if they continue to trend in the right way, and people can make fun of concepts like momentum and culture and all these things, but it does build up. And if you continue to build this confidence and take this momentum and continue to build on that, man, there really isn't a team that they can't beat. And the beautiful system of the NFL is it's one and done. You only have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs once. You don't have to play a 7-game series with them. Like you just have to play a game like today one time.
So hi to Ashley and Gregory and Colton and Aiden. My kids and nephews are watching.
Hey guys, what's up? Merry Christmas.
So let's dive into exactly how this happened. And obviously it starts with Josh Allen. 28 of 40, 359 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, another 33 rushing, and 2 more rushing touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns, 359 yards, 400 total yards. I'm running out of superlatives of what to call him. 70% completion percentage. No one sack that was him trying to keep a play alive. Maybe one, pass that could have been put in jeopardy. Otherwise, unbelievable pass after unbelievable pass. I don't know that this was his best game as a pro, but it was awful impressive.
Yeah, it might not have been his best. One of the worst passes was a pass that half the quarterbacks or more in the league can't make. It was from the far hash, and he threw it 25, 30 yards from the far hash.
Because he tried to put it 40 yards on a rope without stepping into it. And
which only his arm can even get the ball there. So he just put too much faith in that arm. I don't mind that if that's going to happen. No, great game from Josh. I'll give a shout out to Buffalo Wins. He and I have been arch nemesis on Twitter for years now, and he loves the 300-yard games. I still don't believe it's an indication for winning, but I love Josh Allen 300-yard games. It's a lot of fun, and it does, while I don't believe it's an indicator for winning, that is how this team is wired. They are a pass-first team. They are a super aggressive team in the air. It's what suits them best. It's where all their weapons are. It's what they've given Josh, and that is their mode to win. And I somewhat agree with him that if they are going to win games into the playoffs, it's going to be on the arm of Josh Allen. And the legs are an added bonus, but then you add in the ability to generate some turnovers on that, and that's just too much. It's overwhelming for a team. But we called Josh Allen's MVP campaign dead at some point in October.
From games 5 through 8. So we had the hot 4. Then he had those 4 down ones. We're like, all right, it's probably
gone. Yeah. No, it's not gone. And it should be way more seriously considered. I think obviously Mahomes and his lack of interceptions and the efficiency that he's playing with is definitely there. Rodgers is another guy. But as far as the most important, if you actually go by the definition of what an MVP is, I really think Allen just brings this team to another level. Like Kansas City was good, but they weren't Patrick Mahomes good, but they have a good team. There's a lot of good players on the team. We have Stephon Diggs, we have Cole Beasley, but there's not a lot of stars across this Buffalo team. And Josh Allen has just become a star in front of our very eyes over the past month and a half.
Yeah. Our man Chris over at Uncle Jumbo's. What's going on, Chris? Good to see you.
Loving this root beer, man.
Daniel, thank you very much. Very generous of you. We appreciate it. And talking about those other parts of the game, Josh obviously made it happen. And I love the way that they've now set it up where we are a pass-first team. We are an aggressive team. We are a pass-second, pass-third team. But I like the fact that we have the option to go to the run late with efficient runs. And you brought that up in the research this week, that it's not just a matter of, hey, we need to run the ball with balance. We need to run the ball X% of the time. It's when we run the ball, we need explosive runs. And they did that over and over again today. Zach Moss, 13 carries for 81 yards, just pounding the Broncos over and over again. Devin Singletary, 8 for 68 because he popped a 51-yard touchdown to seal the game. And then Josh's 3 carries for 33 yards. So the scorebook shows 24 carries for 182 at 7.6 yards per rush and 3 touchdowns. This is easily the best rushing performance of the night, even if it's helped by the late 51-yarder.
It's definitely inflated by that. But again, I need explosive plays. And I know people probably get annoyed of hearing me talk about toxic differential. And I don't care. I'm a pretty annoying guy in general, so get used to that. But again, dude, this game, by my count, I had it 11-1.
Yes.
In this game, and it's so reflective of the way that game was. I've never, in my 3 years of tracking it during games, I've never seen a blowout.
48-19 game that should have been 62-19. That's what it should look like.
Yeah. I've never seen it like that. And people say, okay, so that's not predictive of winning. No, but if you want to see what the model to win is, it is getting those explosive plays, and that's in the run game too. And I don't need them to rely on the run game to move the chains. I think the passing game, there's some extension of the run game within the passing game. The short stuff to Beasley, you saw on a 3rd and 4, just getting it out quick to Diggs. That used to be in previous offenses with the Bills. That was a guaranteed run play to try to get those 4 yards. Now they're going 3rd and 4, and it's a short yardage pass. That's sort of an extension of it. I'm not in the camp that this run game really needs to produce in the next couple of weeks heading into the playoffs, so the Bills have no shot. Because line up these guys, spread these guys out. There's not many secondaries that I can think of in this league that can go spread, and we can't win 1-2 matchups in almost every play.
Well, and that's without John Brown. We get John Brown back healthy next week. It's unbelievable that it's about to get better. We're about to get deeper. And so Tim makes a joke about Jerry for running back. We had that conversation in my parents' living room that I would be shocked if Jerry Hughes doesn't sneak his way into the running back room and say, no, I belong in here now. You guys saw the same.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next position group, the wide receivers today, it was top heavy. We knew it was going to be a great game for Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, and they somehow exceeded that. Stephon Diggs, 11 catches for 147 yards. He now leads the NFL in catches and yards, is a healthy lead in catches. I think now with 12 or 13 catch lead overall in most catches in the league. Cole Beasley, 8 for 112, easily on his way to a 1,000-yard season. Touchdown catches from Dawson Knox, and even Jake Kummerow came over from Green Bay, and because of his flowing hair and his beard, they called him Touchdown Jesus, and had his first touchdown here for the Bills. A couple more contributions from other guys, but getting 7 guys to catch the ball. Lee Smith deserved his to count.
Dawson Knox getting one.
Yeah, it's just seeing that much go around, but obviously, when Josh needs a play, he knows he can go to Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, and they roasted their guys all day. And we expected that going through our preview shows. We knew they didn't have the guys to keep up with those two.
Yeah, I don't know that there's even how bad and dinged up their DBs are. I mean, there really aren't a lot. We're going to go play New England. They have good DBs. I still like our chances with those DBs. I really have full confidence in the way Diggs is playing. I don't know anything. I've seen a couple people mention in the chat about the extent of his injury. I have no idea. It's good that he walked back out there. They wouldn't, if it was serious, they wouldn't let him come back out to celebrate in that manner. He had weight on it, even though he was limping a little bit. I'm guessing it's some type of sprain or something. He rolled something, or I think he'll be fine. The nice thing is, kind of just to touch on those injuries a little, we have 2 weeks before the playoffs start. So it looked like Levi Wallace came right back in. It sounded like Trey was a stinger.
Yeah, Trey was just a stinger. That's not a long.
Yeah, so a lot of guys are probably just going to be back. You're going to have some time possibly here, depending how records shake out over the next couple of weeks. You might be able to rest some players in this last week. But I think we can definitively say, I think there's a really strong argument for Stephon Diggs as the best receiver in the NFL, that we have the best offensive weapon in the NFL on the Buffalo Bills. And I think Cole Beasley's playing about as well as like a Wes Welker slot receiver in his prime, that I've ever seen. I thought that he was, for me, a poor man's Wes Welker. And just right now he's playing as good as I ever saw a Wes Welker type player play.
Yeah, he's playing at a peak Welker, Edelman, any of those kind of, scrappy slot receiver guys. He's having as good a season as any of them ever had. Right. And still has more to be able to go. And a couple guys in the chat here bringing up questions that you probably have the luxury that, say you needed to just give Stephon Diggs a week, bring John Brown and let Stephon Diggs sit for a week. I'm not afraid of that with New England. The same thing. If we need to go against New England's wide receivers and you just want to give Trey a week off or Levi Wallace a week off and let one of them go with Josh Norman on the other side, have at it. One question that did come up here, I don't know if Darrell Williams they were letting Nsekhe rotate in to get some reps, which I actually heard being discussed that they may do to try to give him some reps. I'm assuming there was some kind of injury, but I didn't hear anything and haven't heard any reports yet. We'll listen to McDermott's post-game presser to find out anything more about that, but no details on that. If anyone has anything, please add that in the chat here.
We won't know anything about Williams till probably midweek. Yeah, I would think McDermott's not going to give anything up in the post game. He'll say, hey, we don't know yet. We got to evaluate it, something to that extent. And we'll know once those practice reports start coming out. He's going to give us little information about that here going forward. But the fact that we didn't hear anything significant about it during the game, I think is good. That there was no worries. They're saying in the broadcast it's a groin. That could be a pain in the ass. That's a type of thing that could linger with a big guy. So hopefully he gets his treatments, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Troy asking, did they say Andre Roberts? I don't know how to interpret that any other way. If they put Micah Hyde back there for multiple punt returns, I don't know that it's something where it was a huge punishment, more than I kind of think it's a McDermott policy. He did it to Zach Moss when Zach Moss was playing well. If you put the ball on the ground, you come out of the game.
He did have returns after that.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was just a couple plays just to.
Was he hurt? Did he tweak something? We didn't hear anything. So it's hard to speculate what exactly went on. But you can't put the ball on the ground. Yeah. In that spot. I mean,
he's got a great season. He deserves the Pro Bowl votes he's getting. Yeah. You can't put the ball on the ground. You just can't.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it long term. It does happen. It happens to the best of them. But that gave them points. That
directly led to the 7 points.
Yeah, and the way that game was going, that's one of those pivotal plays where I still think the only team that could beat the Buffalo Bills today was the Bills. But they were trending in that direction. You were starting to see some sloppy penalties, and you see that, and that kind of thing can get out of hand for Bills teams of the past. And then you get Josh out there making too much plays, and this game's an entirely different game. So those things do matter. Even in a blowout game, you got to go back and really harp on that ball security type stuff, because against the better team, it makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And, the final offensive group here was the offensive line. You give up 1 sack to Josh, which was purely him keeping the play alive after the fact. You lead 24 carries for 182 yards. This was a dominant performance. And there were a lot of injuries in the back 7. The front line of the Broncos still had talent. Bradley Chubb's still out there. There's still some top guys. They had some additional dings there. Maybe some of the guys they thought they'd have an issue at the beginning of the year. But this is a fantastic performance. And even if it is against a dinged-up Denver defense, you still don't want to play down to that level of competition. You want to show that you're the dominant, better team. And this was one of the best, most consistent offensive line performances of the season.
Yeah, and I know, the Steelers, everybody's talking about, hey, the Bills beat the Steelers, but they're heading on a downward swing. That's still probably the best front 7 the Bills are going to play the rest of the way. If they meet them again, maybe it'll be there again. But after playing that type of guy, playing Bosa, Bradley Chubb's good, but after the type of confidence that they've built up over the last few weeks here, I think that they feel like as a unit they can hang with anyone. Bakker had a couple of penalties, but I think I like this spot there, and I like this line. I like this 5. I think this is who you roll into the playoffs with, assuming Darrell Williams is healthy, and I think they're building just enough continuity here late in the season where I think it's going to just continue to trend in the right direction and get better, and that's a great sign. And you do see it, even though the run game's not getting going as much as I think some fans would want. You're seeing that what were 1-yard runs turning into 3-4 yard runs and stuff like that. And I do think the run game's starting to get a little better on the line. So I like that. I hope it continues to trend in the right direction. Just hope that it stays healthy over the next 2 weeks here so that we can have that group together here for a full month, a little over a month and a half here heading into the playoffs, because I think it's important. There's just so much movement and worry of that spot in that line. And I think Bakker stepped in pretty well, all things considered.
I think if you're going to nitpick anything for this game, those couple stretches with the penalties in the red zone, it's fine when you're playing the Broncos. And I was even joking that my mom and I were talking, we were like, it's 1st and goal from the 30. Yeah, they'll probably still score. And when you're playing against a dinged up secondary, you can overcome those things. If you're playing against the Chiefs, if you're playing against the Ravens, the Titans, one of these playoff teams, you can't take that for granted. So it's something that I love it, that in a 48-19 beatdown where they win the AFC East division championship, McDermott still has some stuff to twist the knife a little bit on film study, and that, you can't have those penalties in those situations. You can't allow that to drop you to the freaking 30 when you have 1st and goal. It's just not acceptable. So I don't, obviously it wasn't a big deal today. It's not something that overcomes this, but the fact that it came to a game like this, they still need to focus on that. And, it's funny, I think we might have jinxed it in our house. We were talking about how the Bills had been one of the most penalized teams in the league. And that was when they had, I think, 4 Denver penalties and 0 for Buffalo. And that literally was the next play was from the red zone. So I'm pretty sure my family jinxed that. But it's still something that needs to be focused on.
It does. And some of it was, I hate to talk about the officials. I didn't think this crew was particularly consistent.
In both directions.
Yeah. All around. I didn't think it was a very good crew of officiating. So there's probably some of that curve baked into that. And I joked around here because I was telling my wife how annoying I am about toxic differential. I said, they're just backing up so they can get another 20+ yard play for me in this game. But yeah, no, you're right, man. And I tweeted out, you can't have this, even as fun as this game is, and seeing that if there's one thing to really work on and clean up, it's those penalties. And we've seen those start to sort of pop up for the Bills over the last few weeks, kind of periods of sloppy play. You can't have it. Luckily, we didn't have any of the real big gross. Obviously, the low hit questionable.
Sure.
I want Josh Allen to get that call too, so I'm not going to bitch about it too much. Like I want those calls for my guy, so I'm not going to complain. But we didn't see any big bad DPIs or any, Jerry Hughes flagrant unnecessary roughness penalties or anything like that. So they weren't playing sloppy mental football. It was just holding calls, and those are pain in the ass, but they happen on almost every play.
We had two of those pick plays that they're supposed to be pick plays. You just kind of have to do them with a little more nuance and make it look a little more casual. Both Diggs and the one is freaking Ryan Bates running across her. Yeah. Those are going to happen.
The illegal formations, I have to go back and look at those. Those have been a little questionable all year. I think league-wide over, OCs and when guys are lining up with the officials aren't telling guys. Some of those for the Bills this year.
You saw Nzeki say, hey, I declared eligible. You guys saw me. He thought he did the right thing. Those are tough.
Yeah, those ones are tough.
Yeah. So flipping over here, the defense had a heck of a day. I know it looks like they gave up 19 points. This was a really strong performance.
Andre Roberts gave up 7. So.
Yeah, seriously. So 4 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, sacks coming from Trey White, where he came with a haymaker swinging down, knocked the ball loose. Jerry Hughes picked it up and had what was the most impressive rushing attempt that game until Devin Singletary's 51-yard touchdown. But in back-to-back games with defensive touchdowns, 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 5 tackles for a loss, held them to 19 points, and one of them was a garbage time touchdown with 2 minutes left in the game. Just a fantastic defensive performance against a team that, they probably should have done well, but also a team that put up some points last week. Drew Lock was coming off a game of 4 touchdown passes and no interceptions, putting up 32 points. So to hold them to that, I thought was a really strong performance.
For sure. I really want to highlight that strip sack play for a second, because to me, that play meant so much about this organization, about the drought years, about everything. Jerry Hughes is one of the longest tenured Bills in my adult life. At this point, he's been here. He's been consistent. He's been through some challenging years with this team. He's been through crappy coaches like Doug Marrone and Rex Ryan, and he stuck it out, and he stayed productive, and he stayed with this administration when they booted everyone with this front office.
And Reed Ferguson are it.
Yeah, he and Reed Ferguson are it, and he stayed through all of that. And then you have Trey White coming out, who's their first pick. Everybody yapping about the Mahomes bunker for 3 years and saying, this was a dumb thing. They should have gone with Mahomes. They went with Trey White. Trey White really has set the tone for what they expect out of this defense. And so I thought this play, it was like a kind of a microcosm of everything pent up about this new Buffalo Bills regime and team, and with the old getting the pick and score, and it really put this game away. I tweeted, now it's time to celebrate. We locked up the AFC East championship on that play. They were not coming back. Great moment for Jerry. I heard in the replay he was like, let's win this for Buffalo in the celebration. This matters to him, dude. He has come so close to having
here. He's grown up into a man in Buffalo.
Yes, he's a captain. He's done some things, and you could tell after last year, he really thought that team was going to make a run last year, and it hurt him in those post games. His career, he knows his career is winding down here, and that in all these years he's been in Buffalo, he's accumulated nice stats during the time, and he's had nice runs, but his team has never been good. They've never been a legitimate Super Bowl contending football team, and now they are. And I'm super happy if for anyone in this organization, I'm most happy, I think, for Jerry Hughes.
Yeah. So using that term for anyone who hasn't had a chance, go back and find our friend Bruce Nolan did a great show on what does it mean to be a Super Bowl contender. And of course, in true Bruce fashion, he drilled down into literally the definitions of the word and talked through it and explained. And I'll give a little spoiler for the show, explain why the Bills really are a Super Bowl contender. And I think he may actually do a crossover episode coming across here this week. So keep an eye out for that. With maybe seeing an appearance in the Cover One network from Bruce as well. Overall, I thought I wasn't expecting a lot from this offense with the corners. I didn't think we're going to be put on notice. I was a little nervous about Noah Fant, and he had a good game, but I think that combination of Milano, Edmonds, the safeties kept him in check. I know some fans wanted to complain about that touchdown Matt Milano was in great coverage. It was a great throw and an awesome extended catch by one of the best athletes in the league at tight end. There's not a lot you can do about that. I thought that they did a great job controlling what they did.
Good throws, beat good coverage almost every time.
Josh does it a lot.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And I'm actually getting pretty freaking sick of every time a reception's given up. People getting so mad and overreacting. Levi Wallace gives up a reception in cover 3, and he comes up and makes a tackle. And like, yes, it's annoying that a reception's given up, dude, but get over it. Like, he played a pretty good game. He got his hands on a ball to start the game, almost got a pick. Like, nobody got behind this defense today on either side. And Jerry Jeudy's a freak, man. He's a freak athlete. Like, I was worried about some of these wide receiver matchups, and I think everybody had a really good game. Taron Johnson almost got another pick 6, breaking on the ball. I had no problems with the secondary. Obviously, we didn't get the all-22 view yet. I'm sure there's going to be plays that were open for Drew Lock to make, and he didn't capitalize on them. But from the watching, we didn't see them really able to do anything in the passing game. And I thought that the secondary played pretty well. And I think, for the most part, they kept Fant. I think they were trying to make Fant the go-to in this game. And the Bills, for the most part, eliminated that.
Yeah, he certainly. I mean, he had more than double the targets of any other player on their team. He absolutely was the focus. And, one last player here, it would have been something if Taron Johnson had back-to-back pick 6s. You would have been just floating in the middle of the screen somewhere.
I would have lost a lot of followers. I would have been so insufferable, and I don't even care. Dude, talk about turnaround, though, like, of a season from being benched, legitimately being benched.
They took snaps away.
And he is, I still want to get more cornerbacks, but I'm cool. Like, if he can play at this kind of level here and do it at a consistent level, like, I'm cool with him being the nickel corner here for a while. Like, there's not a lot of guys that have taken more snaps in the NFL at the position than he has. And this team puts him in a lot of positions where, fans say he's a liability, but they put a lot of responsibility on his shoulders and what he does with the communication stuff. And I think he's put the time in and really earned the right to stay on this team and continue to earn his snaps.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Paul. Appreciate the generosity, and you're spot on. The fact that we're able to nitpick about a special teams muff and some penalties in the game in a blowout win is pretty great stuff. It's pretty fantastic.
And no one will remember that stuff.
Yeah,
down the road.
It's 48 to 9. I don't care at all. All right, so switching over. We're gonna go forward in some things that, obviously Aaron and I were getting ready for some of this live as we were going. So we didn't discuss what we normally do beforehand. I'm going to start out with just a warning that for the Uncle Jumbo's responsible play of the game, you can enjoy Uncle Jumbo's. You saw Aaron enjoying his root beer.
Still enjoying it.
Still enjoying it. You can enjoy that responsibly. Anytime you enjoy Uncle Jumbo's products, please do responsibly. I'm going to advise you, please shop responsibly tonight, but not too responsibly. There's going to be a lot of nice AFC East Division champion gear out there. We've already seen some fun stuff from our friends Dell and Josh over at 26 Shirts. Go out and have a good time. Get yourself an extra Christmas present. Do so responsibly, but have a little fun with it. So I'm going to go outside the game for our responsible play of the game. Get yourself some nice AFC East Division champion gear and enjoy it responsibly.
I'm going to spend a lot of money. I am. I already told my wife, I was like, don't even check the credit card after this week because I'm going to buy everything that comes out, I think. I think that's a good one. And I do have to say here, this isn't even a plug because I'm not going to lie, I love Uncle Jumbo's. I was a little nervous about this root beer float flavor. They gave me some. I was like, I don't know. That's a hard one to replicate. This is sneaky delicious right now. Okay. I want to throw some ice cream in here and just go out in the hot tub and just get wasted with some root beer floats and celebrate this victory because this stuff is really good. If you like those kind of flavors, I can't wait to try the orange creamsicle one now. I grabbed this one today.
The orange cream soda.
Yeah, so super good. For the responsible play, if we're going to actually have a play in the game, it's the continued use of the throwaway or the responsible play is for me is not the continued use. I was going to say the getting them to jump off and throw the ball downfield. I think that's great. But actually, it was I had it on a 3rd and 2 or maybe it wasn't a 3rd and 2. It was a throwaway play on, I think, the second drive or the first drive, where it was a designed run for Josh. He went out, ran the outside, nothing was there, and he just pulled it up and threw it away. And that is not something I don't think we would see from Josh over the past couple of years, where if it's a designed run and his number's called, even if there's guys in the way, he's trying to jump him, hurdle him, put his shoulder down, run over him. But he had the quick thinking to just pull it up, throw it away, and live to play another play. And then they had the Knox touchdown on the next play. So
it's awesome. It's funny. I was sitting there, I was talking to my nephew Colton. So my nephew Colton, really, really smart. He understands football really well for as old as he is. And he was talking about how good Aaron Rodgers is of those free plays and the free play god, and how good he is at catching people off sides and taking those shots. And Colton was talking about how awesome it is to see Josh Allen do what Aaron Rodgers does, getting those free shots downfield. And that when you have a shot to be able to do that and you don't just throw it away, or you don't just you see quarterbacks all the time just spike it in the dirt when they get the 5 yards. Josh is so good to the point where he looks over at the ref and gets acknowledgement beforehand to say, hey, is it real? It is? Okay. And then he goes and takes a deep shot because he knows it's a free play. And for him to be able to process that mid-play, to know that, hey, is it free? Is it free? It is? Okay, boom. And then take a shot downfield. And to do it, to know that it's just free chances to go take a shot for that is awesome. So I had to give a shout out to my nephew Colton who picked that out. And it's great when you're getting mentioned with Aaron Rodgers in that kind of setting, and he is the greatest at it.
Yeah, I've been frustrated for years of the Bills not being able to do just simple things like throw the ball away and to take the free plays when they're there, and they're doing it. And even the week ago where we saw them rush and line up and get them with 12 men on the field like the Patriots used to do to us at least once a game, every single game, that's free yards. And those cliches of this is a game of inches, all that stuff matters as far as accumulating throughout the season and getting those free things, those free plays, free yards, any of that stuff you can find, the better. In terms of responsible play of the game, I also want to shout out, I don't know if it happened, but I think it's happened, to all the fans who have done their superstitious, your stakes.
Yeah.
I wear the same pajamas before a game. I wear the same outfit during the game. I know there's a lot of fans that have their superstitions. Congratulations. After 25 years of just trying to find the right balance of superstitions year in and year out, we've done it. And all your superstitions have come to fruition. Even though I feel bad for your cholesterol at times when I see some of those stakes, you're doing it for the team. It's your 1 of 11. And now you're locked in for the rest of the year. I hope you go to like Costco or something and buy a run here of like 5 big steaks.
As we switch over here, if you're in the market for a new vehicle and you need to get yourself something here with some winter tires, maybe check out our friends over at West Her 23 dealerships in the New York State area, the biggest dealership group actually in New York State. But come on over, check them out. When you're ready for a drive, the drive of the game for me, I've actually picked the one coming out of halftime. You had the game relatively in control. You're up 21-13, but they're within a score, and you had just given up a cheesy drive at the end and that frustrating touchdown to Noah Fant, and fans were sniping at each other, and we're up a score, but fans were sniping back and forth on Twitter about frustration and bad coverage and everything like that. I like the combination that not only was it a nice return from Andre Roberts, who needed a boost, who needed to feel good about himself after the earlier muff, was able to take that down. Then you went on a nice, smooth drive. They tried to get the fat man touchdown, and they tried to go and get it to Nsekhe, and he was actually open. I was pointing it out to my family. Josh tried to get it to Nsekhe off to the left, but he was still able to run for the touchdown to the right. That one put him up 28-13. And on the very next play was the blitz by Trey White to tomahawk down, Jerry Hughes return touchdown. Boom, 4 minutes into the second half, we're up 35-13. And like you said, it's a party the rest of the way. So that was my drive of the game.
Yeah, that would have been probably my drive of the game too. I loved you come right out of half, you get the big return, a little redemption for Andre Roberts of doing something positive for his team after that letdown of the muff punt. And then right after that, you get the 22-yarder to Beasley. It was just like boom, boom, big plays. And that is how, when a team responds and ends the half with points, and you come back out and you punch them right back in the mouth and show them that, look, that was cute what you did there, but we're in control of this game and are going to stay in control of this game. And then my other runner-up was going to be the next play on the defensive side, so you do that, you come out and punch him in the mouth, and then you get the strip sack, Jerry Hughes return. And to me, that symbolized so much. I already ranted about how much that symbolized that I was going to call that for my drive of the game, because just how much it meant, and it just put this game away. For me, in our house, it was a party from then on of we're the champions. I think I played it on Alexa 3 or 4 times. We are the champions throughout that second half. So,
yeah, she's listening. She's
listening.
More of my family listening and hanging out. So it's awesome that so many people get to enjoy this kind of fun celebration where it was just a carefree celebration of the game. It wasn't like there was no stress to it. The most stressful as it got, that was frustration that, oh my gosh, I can't believe you let them pull back within 8 points. That's literally the most stressful that the game ever got. And just being able to be in that kind of scenario, to lock this up, to let them run away with the division championship, it is just unbelievable. And that's really exciting to be a part of. And I don't think you're wrong. That I don't think this is the last time we're going to have this kind of enjoyment for a couple games to come.
Yeah, it's so cool. We have a really good football team, guys. Like this is a top tier NFL football team. They are a Super Bowl competitor. I don't know if they'll get there, but they're going to be a tough out for people on the way to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's probably a little bit of stress. I saw a little bit of angst on Twitter about, I think there's like still 13 minutes left in the game, and people were mad that the starters we're still in with 13 minutes left. And I get it. I do. And it hurts even more when you see Stephon Diggs go out of the game and then you see Trey White go out of the game later on. Those things suck. There's only so many human beings that you can bring into a game. So you're going to have some starters out there, no matter, even if you bench guys. Even in that last drive, we saw Jordan Poyer was out there. I saw a number of guys you don't want to get hurt still playing, but with 13 minutes left,
players to sit all 22 starters, the math doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you can't do it. And with 13 minutes left, there's just not a lot of scenarios or coaches that are going to pull in those situations with that much time left. Even though the game was a wrap, I wasn't mad about it. Obviously, in hindsight, when players get hurt, it does kill you a little bit to see it happen. But look, I think it seems late in the game we avoided any serious injuries. I haven't seen any news about it, but it seems any of that was avoided. So I think these next 2 weeks, if they are up big in games here, or even if they, depending on the records shake out, I'm all for sitting guys earlier, doing whatever we have to do to make sure that this health run that they've been on stays here to head into the playoffs. Because the last thing you want to do is lose a superstar heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want to assume or make any commitments that, hey, there were no serious injuries. It didn't look like it. Everything didn't appear as though there was anything serious. So obviously don't want to take any of that lightly.
I'm not a doctor anymore.
I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV. Yeah. So as we look forward here, we now have a nice kind of 9-day break. So we get to go through this week. Everyone gets to enjoy Christmas with your families. Be able to enjoy time together, enjoy any other holidays that you celebrate. I hope you enjoy those as well. And then we come back on Monday Night Football, another primetime game, this time against the Patriots. And honestly, I love it that there's no chance they're going to overlook or take that game lightly. This game is going to matter a ton to them. They want to destroy the Patriots and play with their full intensity. I also like that they're still chasing the Steelers for that number 2 seed, and that matters a lot. I would love to have 2 home games. For anyone who didn't see the governor's press conference the other day, they've cracked the door open that based on the recent testing, there's a chance we could have fans in Buffalo Bills Stadium to be able to maybe watch 1 or 2 of these playoff games. So we'll see where those things go. I like that they need to keep their foot on the gas. This game against New England and Miami are going to matter. I don't anticipate us sitting players, short of literally an injury, but just sitting people from a cushion standpoint or to rest starters. I think the seeding is going to matter all the way through here and that they're going to play both of these games. And I love it because I want to get that number 2 seed because I want to have 2 home games and then I want to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I do too. I really want them to play the way they've played over the last few weeks here against the Patriots. It was nice to beat the Patriots. That game might have been the worst win of the season. And I don't care. I've pounded the table that all wins matter and they're all, but as far as we talk about that Hail Murray and how improbable that was, the end of the Patriots game was not as improbable until they were driving to score. We're probably going to either tie or win that game. And it was a pretty improbable play to come up with that. The Bills played sloppy. New England matched them, I think, in every aspect of that game and gave them some fits. So that measuring stick of the Patriots, even though they've won the division now and stuff, I still need to see a decisive beatdown. In the NFL, beatdown is just a 2-possession game. I want to see a 2-possession healthy victory against the New England Patriots, against Bill Belichick, because even though that team's talent-wise isn't where they've been over the last 15 years, Bill Belichick's still scheming up some good stuff and giving some teams fits. Like they're not there every week, but I need Sean McDermott to outcoach.
45-0.
Yeah, I need Sean McDermott and Brian Dable and Leslie Frazier to outcoach that coaching staff to check that other thing off the box for me of this season, and that'll feel really good. It'll be like a second Christmas.
Everyone needs a second Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I think we need to be excited about. We have those 2 games remaining. Obviously, right now we have clinched the division. We have clinched a home play.
Say it again.
We have clinched the AFC East Division Championship, which means we will host a playoff game in Buffalo for the first time in 25 years. We are in strong position to have multiple playoff games. I know we have a couple people in here talking about how much the seeding matters. Only the number 1 seed gets a bye. That's accurate. Playing home playoff games and having the chance that somebody else bumps off Kansas City and you could have 3 home playoff games and have the road to the Super Bowl go through Buffalo, that matters. That absolutely matters. And I want that for this team. And I think Sean McDermott and I think this team wants that. And I'm excited to see them go after it. It is going to become a different kind of scoreboard watching now. Buffalo Bills fans have spent 20 years with crazy scoreboard watching and playoff scenario machines figuring out what options you need to work out to be able to have us sneak our way into the 6th seed. Well, now we're going to be looking at scoreboard watching to see who we want to play. And don't get me wrong, are there teams that I want to play less than others and more than others? Yes. But there's no team that I'm afraid of. Would I rather play the Dolphins or the Raiders than the Titans or the Ravens? Sure. But I don't care. I'm not worried about playing the Titans or the Ravens. The Bills can beat any team in the NFL right now, and there are no bad teams that make the playoffs in the AFC. Every AFC team is going to be good. We're going to have to beat 3 good teams if we want to go on a run to the Super Bowl. It doesn't really matter. Bring them on.
Yeah, I agree with you right now because I got a little bit of a buzz from the Jumbos, and I'm feeling pretty confident. But there's probably some matchups that I'd rather steer away from. So as we're navigating that stuff here over the next couple of weeks, I think on our preview shows and stuff, those will have a little bit. We'll probably get into some more nuance as to who we're looking to would be maybe some more favorable matchups for the Bills. Because I would like the easiest road possible. I want to get there and do this thing. But as far as the home field stuff too, even if there's no fans, I know that Vegas hasn't highly weighted home in betting this year because of no fans, but just from the aspect of not having to travel, being at waking up in your own bed and driving to the stadium, being with your family, being close to the training facility, not having to take a long flight back home after a rough game, just being right there where the training facility is and all the medical stuff, all that stuff come playoffs, every tiny little advantage, even without fans, to me matters. So even if fans aren't allowed, and I do hope for the people that want to go to the game that they'll have a chance to do that with the home playoff game. Whether or not it happens, I still think being at home makes a difference, even if it's a very slight difference. And in the playoffs, the smallest differences matter.
Absolutely. So as we get ready to wrap up here tonight, make sure to watch out for our preview show. We'll still do a preview show this week and have some fun with it. I'm looking forward to inviting a Patriots guest on just to make them talk about us winning the division championship. It's great. Really,
yeah, maybe we'll have like 3 of them on.
yeah, I might invite all the Patriots people that we know on the show.
Yeah.
Just ask them if they noticed who won the AFC East championship this year.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Aaron, how are you going to be spending this glorious week? I know it's one of your favorite weeks of the year.
Yeah, I got to catch up on Christmas movies, man. My wife's been wicked busy with work, and there's a bunch that she doesn't want us watching without her. So it's real crunch time at the Quinn household of catching up Christmas movies, baking some Christmas cookies tomorrow, watching some football stress-free, not worrying about anything really except for cookies and eggnog. So this is
cookies today.
Yeah, this is my favorite week of the year, and it just got 10 times better because the Bills are so good at football. So I'm on cloud 9. I'm going to have a great week. And you can find me at Aaron Quinn 716 if you want to join in the week-long celebration. I'll probably be dunking on some accounts that I can find, talking a lot of smack. Very excited and gloating about that for 3 straight weeks now.
Yeah, same here. You guys can find me in the Cover One Slack channel, on Twitter at Greg Tompsett, GregTompsett. Going to be talking about the Bills all week long. It's fantastic. I'm excited. We're going to have our own little Christmas here with our family tomorrow, then back home to do Christmas morning at our house. We've never gotten to wake up at our own house and see what Santa brought in the morning on Christmas morning. That's going to be a first for us. So I'm excited about that and just excited to soak all this in with all of you. So thank you for Uncle Jumbo's, for our friends over at West Her. On behalf of Aaron Quinn and Greg Tompsett, you've been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are out.